was laid off from my job 8 months ago. Here's an update. It feels crazy to say that that happened 8 months ago because it definitely feels like time has elapsed, but I don't feel like I'm fully on the other side of it where I'm like, yes, I did it. I figured it out. I'm very much still in it, if you will. Your economic status can play a role in your identity. It probably shouldn't, but it can, right? And I think that I'm discovering that it has played a role in my identity for a long time. There are very few times in my life where I didn't have a job. Even when I was in high school, I had a job. When I was in college, I had jobs. When I graduated from college, I immediately started working. So now that I don't have a traditional job, I'm doing a lot of mental work to figure out who I am. Because I had traditional jobs, I knew that my check was coming every 2 weeks. As a full-time content creator, that is not how it works. So I'm experiencing a lot of anxiety because this is so different than what I was formerly dealing with. You may have heard on the news that there were 1,300 or so employees that were let go of the State Department in Washington, D.C. Depending on when you started following me, you may or may not know that I'm a former employee of the U.S. Department of State. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I worked for DOS for 6 years in 2 different bureaus. When I heard the news about the layoff at DOS, I, of course, was heartbroken for those individuals who are affected. And I also realized that if I had still been working there and if I had never made the move that I made to New York and I kept with my good government job, I mean, y'all, I really thought that having a government job meant that you had security and stability. This situation has really showed me that like nothing is secure, nothing is stable. And I think I had in my mind that like if I had stayed in that career path, I had like a stable way of like always making a living. And most definitely in 2025, we are all seeing that that is not the case. So I say all this to say that I realized that if I had stayed in the office that I was working, there is like a 99% chance that I also would have been laid off from that job. There have been times throughout my journey where I start to feel regret about leaving the stability of my former life. And I think that this situation kind of reframed that for me, that moving to New York City and giving my dreams a try and a fair chance was definitely still worth it. Obviously, it doesn't come without complication. In my last update, I shared that my eye was twitching. It was twitching up here at the top, and then I think was the bottom of this one or this one, I can't remember now, but it has stopped. My eye has stopped twitching. I feel great about that. My sleep, she's still suspect. I need to be drinking some more water, but one step at a time. The anxiety that I feel being a full-time creator is primarily because of the unpredictable income. That is something that if you are considering this, that you really need to develop a plan to make sure that you are going to be okay and secure and knowing you're not going to get paid traditionally and you just need to be ready to adjust to that. Obviously, I didn't choose to become a full-time creator in the way that I did, but I just want to share that with you. If this is something that you're thinking about, highly recommend having a savings, having at least 6 months, honestly 6 to 8 months of expenses saved. Luckily for me, in addition to getting a severance package and having a savings, as well as continuing to book different brand deals, I have been able to sustain myself. In this next phase, I am really focusing on trying to rest. I'm trying to worry less. I'm trying to lead with faith. And it is hard because I have a type A personality. I like to be prepared. I like to have a plan. And this is not something that is fully within my control. Therefore, I'm trying to lead with a little bit more groundedness and to not walk around so panicky. When I first got laid off, I was applying to jobs constantly. I had a few interviews here and there, but nothing manifested from those opportunities. I'm still continuing to apply as things in alignment arise. However, I am also very much open to staying a full-time creator if I can find my footing a little bit better. I don't have this figured out by any means, but I am most definitely in a better place than I was. Being a full-time creator is incredibly challenging. Through this experience, I'm learning so much. I'm learning a lot about myself.